Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of today's newsletter is going to be why breakups and rejection are really hard to get over. I got an email here from a guy who obviously lives in Europe, and apparently he had a long-distance relationship that lasted about 5 months with a gal from another country in Europe, and I guess they were introduced through mutual family members of each other. And so basically what happened was right before, I guess she called and made plans to come see him, and then like 4 days later she called him on the phone and then broke the whole thing off, which obviously caught him totally by surprise. And so it's like a year has gone by and he's still wondering what he can do to get over it. And so he says he's really struggling. And it's hard when you're dating somebody and they dump you unexpectedly, or your girlfriend dumps you unexpectedly, or your wife dumps you unexpectedly. I deal with guys all the time that are in those situations, and they're usually just shocked as hell that it happened. They didn't see it coming. In this particular case, he thought things were progressing along, and all of a sudden, he didn't tell me the full details of what happened, but I can just tell from his actions here that he did things that lowered her romantic interest in him and basically turned her off, and then she ends up, by the way, I'm dating somebody else. So he says, hey Corey, I found your videos and blogs to be very insightful and helpful, though I could do with your advice regarding a woman I had a long-distance relationship with. We both met in my hometown over Christmas 2010 while she was on holiday staying with cousins in my hometown. It turned out our families knew each other and we both had mutual friends. When she returned home to England, we decided to give the long-distance thing a go, feeling that we both hit things off pretty strongly with each other. Over the months, we made trips to see each other. I live in Ireland, and we had great weekends with each other, though she always found the distance tougher than me. She also had a history of bad relationships, telling me that she would fall in love with the wrong guys who wouldn't treat her so good. And that's a red flag right there. She makes bad choices. In other words, she's got low self-esteem, and she usually dates guys that totally treat her like shit. I also heard this from her cousins, so everyone seemed happy we had met each other. We had made plans for the months ahead, with her being the one to usually bring up the subject of planning a holiday abroad or inviting me to her cousin's wedding, etc. After 5 months, she booked a trip to come stay with me as before, but ended up finishing things with me on the phone about 4 days after booking the flights. It turns out she was getting close to someone else back home, but assured me it was the distance thing that was the problem. We ended up having a heated argument about things. You never argue with a woman. When you argue with a woman, it tells you you do not understand women. I was angry at her for not telling me about the other guy. At the end of the day, it's really none of your business because it's just between her and this other guy, and you were just dating her casually and your long-distance relationship. She said that she was too much hard work for most guys and that I couldn't handle her tantrums had I spent more time with her. She told me she has a tendency to sabotage something when it feels good with a guy because she is not used to such feelings and she gets nervous. I think she did this a few times with me. What is up with a woman who feeds off drama and conflict? And I would say it's quite possible that you were dating a woman that has some passive-aggressive tendencies. Passive-aggressive people tend to really fuck things up bad. They know they're fucking it up bad when they're doing it, but they just can't help themselves. I dated a woman like that. But I think what really happened is you just simply weren't prepared, and you did things and you said things without knowing it that turned her off. And of course, you're over there, in another country, and so it's not the most ideal situation. There's a guy there locally who probably was simply better. He knew more about women than you did, and he was there locally. So where she may have really liked you to start with, I think over time you lowered her interest level to the point where she dumped you, basically. He says, nearly a year on, I still think about her, even though I have been on a string of dates with different women over that period. I don't have a problem talking to women as I feel confident in myself and take care of myself regarding looks, fitness, fashion, etc. I really wanted things to work out with her and possibly try to bridge the distance. We only texted briefly each other this past Christmas as she was curious as to how my year turned out, etc. It turns out that the guy she was seeing dumped her. Why am I still thinking about this girl a year after it happened? He says, I feel bitter and angry. I'm still holding myself back as it's affected everything in my life over the past year. I know deep down she doesn't feel the same way. Is this normal for someone? I feel it's affected my life in terms of work and career. Here's the big overall problem. Forget about the breakup or the rejection or anything. The reason that you're having a hard time getting over it is because you're not taking any action. You're not doing anything to help yourself. And since you haven't been really doing much to help yourself and getting out there and dating other women, you simply haven't met anybody or found anybody that you had a better connection with, that you had more fun with, sexual chemistry, whatever, than this previous girlfriend. And of course that's going to happen when you're not doing anything to help yourself. But obviously when a breakup happens or you get rejected, maybe after you were dating a girl for a few weeks that you really liked and you're really hoping things are going to go better with this one, or that this one you really had a shot with, and then all of a sudden you get dumped or she rejects you, and then you're sitting there licking your wounds. You obviously got to take time to suffer and feel the pain and be authentically present with your feelings. But what you don't want to do, and what a lot of people do that have been rejected or they're in a breakup or just had a breakup, is they sit around and they worry about what happened. They obsess over what happened in the past. And constantly they replay in their mind what coulda, shoulda, woulda, if I'd have done this, if I'd done that. And what happens is you end up obsessing over the past and things that you can't change. And when we do that, when we obsess over what is and what we can't change, we suffer because we want reality to be other than it is. And the danger with this is that you stay focused on what is, or I should say what was and what can't be now, which is obviously the past. You're not going to get back together with this gal, obviously. And so what happens is you basically take yourself out of the game. It's like you're sitting on the sidelines on life and not doing anything to help yourself in your situation. So obviously nothing's going to improve. I mean, you have to participate in your own rescue. I mean, think back to the time before you met this previous girl or that last girl that rejected you. I mean, when you didn't even know about her and you didn't even know this person existed, you just had quiet expectation and hope that eventually you're going to meet somebody. And so in order to have a balanced life, you have to take action. Take time to suffer and feel the pain, but you also have to take time to get yourself up off your ass even when you don't feel like it and start interacting with other women. One of the things that Winston Churchill said during World War II was one of his favorite, and Winston Churchill was a Prime Minister of the UK during World War II, and he said, success is going from failure to failure without loss of enthusiasm. So yeah, it didn't work out with this other girl, but the only thing that you can do is meet other women and interact with other women and improve your skills. You got to read my book. You got to start applying this stuff. Because it's simply a numbers game. When you interact with enough women and you see enough things, you start to recognize the patterns. That builds your confidence, and then eventually, boom, same thing will happen. You'll run into somebody, you'll have a great connection, and this time around, you'll be prepared, and you never want to get hung up on one woman until she's earned it. And that's a big problem where you ran into before, is you got all hung up on this girl, and even though you were just kind of casually dating, and you put all of your eggs in that one basket, and then when it didn't work out, you had nothing to fall back on, whereas she had another guy already lined up. I mean, that's how women are. And whether you like it or not, it's just, tough shit. That's the way they are. I'm sorry. That's the brutal facts, is women usually have 2 or 3 guys in the background that they can date in case a breakup happens. And so as a man, you should do the same thing. And then what happens is as you meet somebody and you have chemistry and you date and you spend more time together, what happens is you spend more time with them and just less time with the other women that you were dating, till ultimately you're having such a good time together, and this woman falls for you that she asks you to be her boyfriend. Simple as that. You got to take action. You got to move forward. If you sit around and sulk, you're just going to suffer. So if you find this message of value, you can show your appreciation by going down to the Wibbia toolbar, which is at the bottom of your screen if you're watching this video on my website, and click the PayPal donate button and donate any amount that you feel is equal to the value of the information in this video. At the very least, please share this page with all your friends and family by clicking any one of the social network sharing buttons, which are also located on the Wibbia toolbar at the bottom of your screen. If you got a question that you want to ask me, or a topic that you want me to cover in a future video newsletter, click the Contact Me tab on the left-hand side of your screen and send me 3 or 4 paragraphs max detailing your situation, and just give me several days to get back to you because I get a lot of email from the internet, and I also get a lot of email from my paying phone coaching customers, and I obviously got to focus on their emails first, but be patient and I will get back with you. And if you'd like to talk to me right away, you can book a paid phone coaching session with yours truly by clicking the Products tab at the top of your screen and just follow the instructions. And I will talk to you soon.